This is California, a state of incredible contrasts, spanning the Pacific coast and capturing the world's attention. With nearly 39 million residents, California holds the title of the most populous state in the U.S. and ranks third in size. It's also the wealthiest, with a staggering $4.0 trillion gross state product as of 2024. That makes California not only the largest economy among U.S. states, but also the largest subnational economy on the globe. California's economic might even surpasses that of the United Kingdom. And for comparison, California's GDP nearly doubles Russia's, showing who really has the strength behind the Grizzly Bear symbol. The official motto here is Eureka, meaning I have found it in Greek. This phrase echoes back to defining moments in California's history, from the gold rush to Silicon Valley's tech revolution. Before European settlers arrived, California was home to one of the world's most culturally and linguistically diverse populations. By the 16th and 17th centuries, European explorers began arriving, leading to Spanish colonization. California then became part of Mexico in 1821, only to join the United States in 1850 after the Mexican-American War. In today's video, we're going to share some surprising facts about California that you may have never heard before. We invite you to watch this video until the end to discover the fascinating truths about the Golden State. And now, a little question to entertain you. Where is the Disneyland that was personally designed by Walt Disney located? A. New York. B. Anaheim. C. Orlando. D. Las Vegas. Watch this video till the end, and you will know the correct answer very soon. Number 10. The Gold Rush. Can you imagine that 200 years ago, California was a quiet, unassuming land, far from the bustling cities of the East? The territory, under Mexican rule, was far from prosperous. Its economy relied on simple agriculture and cattle ranching, with little more than dust and dreams to offer. But then, in 1848, the land itself revealed its secret, a discovery of gold that would forever change its destiny. In January 1848, James W. Marshall, a skilled carpenter, was working for John Sutter, a Swiss immigrant who dreamed of building an agricultural empire in California. Sutter had hired Marshall to oversee the construction of a sawmill on his land along the American River near Coloma. One day Marshall was inspecting the mill's tail race. As he walked along the riverbank, he noticed something unusual glinting in the water. Intrigued, Marshall bent down to inspect the tiny flecks shimmering in the sunlight. He reached into the icy water and pulled out a handful of what looked like shiny pebbles. Marshall's heart raced with excitement, but he wasn't sure what he had found. Could it really be gold? He rushed to Sutter. Both men soon realized the truth. They had stumbled upon gold. Real gold, hidden in the earth beneath their mill. Determined to keep the discovery under wraps, they swore each other to secrecy, hoping to continue their work quietly. However, keeping such a monumental find hidden was impossible. Word spread like wildfire, and within months, the California Gold Rush had begun, bringing tens of thousands of fortune seekers to the region and forever altering the course of California's history. The population of California exploded. San Francisco, which had been a small town of fewer than 1,000 people, grew almost overnight into a bustling city. By the end of 1849, its population had swelled to over 25,000. People from all walks of life, including farmers, lawyers, and even entire families, left behind their old lives for the chance to find gold. In just a few short years, California transformed from a remote outpost into one of the most important regions of the country. Its population soared, its economy boomed, and its infrastructure grew rapidly. New towns and cities were built, roads and railways were laid, and businesses flourished, catering to the needs of the rapidly growing population. The massive influx of people also sped up California's admission to the Union. In 1850, just 2 years after gold was discovered, California became the 31st state. Its rapid rise to statehood was unique, as most territories took decades to reach that status. The gold rush was also a catalyst for the westward expansion of the United States, fulfilling the nation's manifest destiny of spreading from coast to coast. The gold rush didn't just reshape California, it also had a lasting impact on the national economy. The wealth generated by California's gold deposits helped fund the Industrial Revolution and the construction of infrastructure across the U.S., including the Transcontinental Railroad, which was completed in 1869. It opened up new markets and opportunities, fostering a spirit of entrepreneurship that would define the American economy for generations. Imagine if James W. Marshall hadn't discovered gold. What would California look like today? Perhaps the next fact simply wouldn't exist without the gold rush. And now we're moving right along to the next one. Stay with us. Number 9. Hollywood. California wields incredible influence over the world largely due to Hollywood, which has long been the epicenter of global entertainment. Through its movies, television shows, and cultural exports, Hollywood shapes worldwide perceptions, trends, and ideals. By the early 20th century, Los Angeles was expanding rapidly, and Hollywood was starting to catch the attention of a new kind of industry: the movie business. At the time, the film industry was based in New York and New Jersey, but harsh winters and high costs were making it difficult for filmmakers to work year-round. They needed a place with more reliable weather, open spaces, and, ideally, lower costs. California, with its endless sunshine, seemed like the perfect solution. By 1911, the first movie studio was built, and soon after, more and more filmmakers followed. As more studios sprung up, the industry grew rapidly. By the 1920s, Hollywood became the center of the motion picture universe. Stars like Charlie Chaplin, Mary Pickford, and Douglas Fairbanks became household names, and movie palaces were built across the country to showcase the latest films. Hollywood had become synonymous with cinema, and it was well on its way to being a symbol of American culture and ambition. The 1920s and 1930s are often referred to as the Golden Age of Hollywood, a time when the studio system ruled and some of the greatest films of all time were made. MGM, Warner Brothers, Paramount, and Universal were the giants of the industry, churning out films that captivated audiences across the globe. The stars of Hollywood became larger than life. People like Clark Gable, Greta Garbo, and Marlene Dietrich graced the silver screen, while directors like Alfred Hitchcock and Frank Capra pushed the boundaries of storytelling and filmmaking. The 1950s and 60s saw the rise of new genres and new stars, from epic historical dramas like Ben-Hur to the rebellious youth films of James Dean and Marlon Brando. Filmmaking techniques became more sophisticated, and directors like Stanley Kubrick and Steven Spielberg brought a new level of artistry to the craft. But the TV series also was on their way for dominance. For example, I Love Lucy was a groundbreaking American sitcom that aired from 1951 to 1957, starring Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz. The show followed the comedic antics of Lucy Ricardo, a fun-loving but mischievous housewife, and her husband Ricky, a Cuban bandleader. Known for its clever humor, iconic scenes, and the incredible chemistry between its stars, I Love Lucy became one of the most beloved and influential shows in television history. It was one of the first TV series to be filmed in front of a live studio audience, and it set the standard for sitcoms that followed. What are your favorite shows from old Hollywood? Today, Hollywood remains a powerful symbol of the entertainment industry. While the studios of old have evolved and the film industry has spread across the world, Hollywood continues to be the heart of American cinema. The hills that once grew oranges are now home to the biggest names in film. And the dreamers who come to Hollywood are still looking for the same thing: a chance to make magic on the silver screen. The stories told on screen reach billions of people across the globe, making California a powerhouse of soft power. Hollywood's ability to create and spread compelling narratives has not only made it a hub for creativity and innovation, but also a driving force in defining global pop culture, fashion, and even societal values. Number 8. Silicon Valley. The roots of Silicon Valley can be traced back to the 1930s, when a young professor at Stanford University named Frederick Terman began encouraging his students to develop their ideas and start their own companies. Among Terman's most notable students were William Hewlett and David Packard, two young engineers who would go on to found Hewlett-Packard in a garage in Palo Alto in 1939. The HP garage has since become a legendary symbol of Silicon Valley's humble origins. A reminder that some of the world's biggest technological revolutions can start in the most unassuming places. In the 1950s and 60s, the next wave of innovation arrived. The semiconductor, small chips that could control electrical signals, would revolutionize the electronics industry and lay the foundation for modern computing. The invention of the integrated circuit by Robert Noyce in 1959 marked a turning point for the region. Noyce co-founded Fairchild Semiconductor, one of the first companies to mass-produce these chips, and his work helped usher in an era of rapid technological advancement. As semiconductor companies proliferated, the region earned its new name, Silicon Valley, after the silicon used in the production of these crucial chips. By the 1970s and 80s, Silicon Valley had become the birthplace of the personal computer revolution. Two young entrepreneurs, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, founded Apple Computer in a Cupertino garage in 1976. With the launch of the Apple II, one of the first successful personal computers, Apple changed the way people interacted with technology. Computers were no longer just for scientists and engineers. They were for everyone. Around the same time, a small startup called Microsoft began making waves with its software. As the 1990s approached, the internet emerged as the next frontier, and Silicon Valley was once again at the forefront of this revolution. The dot-com boom saw companies like Google, Yahoo, and eBay rise to prominence, forever changing the way people accessed information, shopped, and communicated. The explosion of internet-based companies further cemented Silicon Valley's status as a global center of innovation and economic power. Today, Silicon Valley is home to some of the most influential companies in the world: Apple, Google, Facebook, and Tesla, to name just a few. The technologies developed in this relatively small region of California have reshaped the world. Smartphones, search engines, electric cars, and social media have revolutionized the way people live, work, and connect across the globe. Wow. The Hidden Discovery team is blown away by how wealthy the state of California is. It has everything: the ocean, sunny beaches, and tons of cash. In the next fact, we'll try to figure out how the Golden State managed to achieve this. Number 7. Richer than Russia. This is Vladimir Putin, the president of Russia, telling an economic forum that Russia is the fourth economy in the world and has overtaken Japan. But Vladimir Putin simply did not see the GDP of California. The economy of the state of California is the largest in the United States, with a $3.987 trillion gross state product as of 2024. It is the largest subnational economy in the world. If California were a nation, it would rank in terms of nominal GDP as the world's fifth largest economy, behind Japan and ahead of India, with its $3.937 trillion. Also, in 2022, California's economy overtook the United Kingdom, France, Canada, and Russia. And Russia is about 42 times bigger than California. Calfionians prove you don't need huge territories to be industrious and live in abundance. As both the most populous U.S. state, the economy of California is varied, with many sizable sectors. The most dominant of these sectors include finance, business services, government, and manufacturing. Much of the economic activity is concentrated in the coastal cities, especially Los Angeles, which has a relative focus on media, most notably Hollywood, and the San Francisco Bay Area, which predominantly concentrates on technology. Both cities, along with other major ports such as San Diego, also act as significant trade hubs to and from the United States. Furthermore, California's agriculture industry has the highest output of any U.S. state, with its Central Valley being one of the most productive agricultural regions on Earth, growing over half the country's fruits, vegetables, and nuts. Another critical component of California's modern economy is its leadership in renewable energy. The state's forward-thinking policies on renewable energy have made it a global leader in green technology and innovation. Solar farms now cover vast swaths of desert land, wind turbines dot the landscape, and geothermal plants tap into the Earth's natural heat, all contributing to California's energy independence and reducing reliance on fossil fuels. This not only strengthens California's economy, but also positions it as a key player in the global fight against climate change. California's strategic location on the Pacific Rim gives it a unique advantage in global trade. The state's ports, particularly the ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach, are some of the busiest in the world, handling an enormous volume of goods coming in from Asia and other parts of the globe. These ports serve as a vital gateway for international trade, allowing California to play a central role in the global supply chain. From electronics and automobiles to clothing and consumer goods, California's ports move billions of dollars worth of products annually. This trade not only boosts the state's economy, but also solidifies its position as a global economic hub. connecting the U.S. to key markets around the world. California is a state that fosters innovation and drives the development of all humanity. So let's dive into how they keep things in order in the next fact. Number 6. The original Disneyland. When you think of Disneyland today, you might imagine an enchanted place filled with iconic characters, thrilling rides, and magical moments shared with family. The story of Disneyland's birth is deeply tied to the visionary behind it all, Walt Disney, whose dream was to create something far beyond an ordinary amusement park. For many of us who remember the early days of Disneyland or grew up hearing about it, the park holds a special place in our hearts. But how did it all begin? In the early 1940s, Walt Disney was already well known for creating beloved animated films like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Pinocchio, and Fantasia. But as successful as he was in Hollywood, Disney's mind was always buzzing with new ideas. As the father of 2 young daughters, Walt often took them to local amusement parks in the Los Angeles area. However, he found these parks lacking. Many were dirty, had limited entertainment options for families, and didn't provide the wholesome experience he imagined. Walt started dreaming of a place where children and parents could enjoy themselves together, a place that would be clean, well-organized, and filled with the kind of wonder he was known for creating in his films. What he had in mind wasn't just an amusement park, but a theme park where storytelling, imagination, and creativity would take center stage. Now, do you remember our question? Where is the Disneyland that was personally designed by Walt Disney located? A. New York. B. Anaheim. C. Orlando. D. Las Vegas. The correct answer is B. Anaheim. By the early 1950s, Walt Disney was ready to turn his dream into a reality. After months of searching, Disney settled on a 160-acre orange grove in Anaheim, about 30 miles south of Los Angeles. At the time, Anaheim was largely rural, with farms and open land. But Disney saw potential. He believed this location would allow enough space for his ambitious plans and be accessible for families traveling from nearby cities. Construction on Disneyland began in 1954, and Walt had ambitious goals. He wanted the park to open within a year. He believed in his dream, and he pushed his team to overcome every challenge. Disneyland officially opened its doors on July 17, 1955. The opening day was a resounding success. Over 28,000 guests streamed through the gates, eager to experience the magic of Disneyland. Walt Disney himself was there, greeting visitors and marveling at the park he had dreamed about for so long. One of the most memorable moments was when Walt dedicated the park with these words: "To all who come to this happy place, welcome. Disneyland is your land. Here, age relives fond memories of the past, and here youth may savor the challenge and promise of the future." More than 65 years after its opening, Disneyland continues to be a symbol of joy and imagination for people of all ages. But for those who remember the early days, there's something special about knowing the park's history and the incredible journey that Walt Disney took to bring his dream to life. His determination, creativity, and vision helped shape not just a theme park, but a cultural phenomenon that would influence generations to come. Can you imagine a happy childhood without Disney? And would our next fact even exist without Walt Disney? Stay with us to find out. Number 5. Alcatraz Island. Perched on a rocky island in the middle of San Francisco Bay, Alcatraz is shrouded in mystery and legend. Known as The Rock, Alcatraz was once the most feared federal prison in the United States, housing some of the most notorious criminals of its time. Originally, Alcatraz served as a military fort and later a military prison in the 1850s, guarding the entrance to San Francisco Bay. Its strategic location made it a perfect place to defend against potential threats. However, by the 1930s, as crime rates surged during the Prohibition era, the U.S. government decided to turn Alcatraz into a high-security federal prison. In 1934, it was officially converted into a maximum security facility designed to hold the nation's most dangerous and incorrigible inmates. With its cold, treacherous waters, strong currents, and frequent fog, the island was believed to be the perfect location for a prison from which no one could escape. The prison's isolated position and the icy waters of the bay added a psychological layer to the inmates' sentences, reinforcing the idea that once you were sent to Alcatraz, there was no way out. Alcatraz quickly earned a reputation as the most secure prison in America. It was designed to be unbreakable, with its fortress-like walls, iron bars, and an armed guard at every corner. The prison was said to be escape-proof, And for most of its existence, that reputation held true. The strong tidal currents and frigid waters of the bay were natural barriers that made escape nearly impossible. Despite its seemingly impenetrable nature, Alcatraz still faced numerous escape attempts. Over its 29 years of operation, 36 men tried to escape the rock, but official records state that none were successful. Some were caught, some drowned, and others disappeared into the cold waters, never to be seen again. The most famous attempt was made by Frank Morris and the Anglin brothers in 1962, who managed to dig through their cell walls and vanish into the night on a makeshift raft. While their ultimate fate remains a mystery, the escape captivated the public and added to Alcatraz's mythic status. Alcatraz housed some of America's most infamous criminals, turning it into a place of legend. One of its most notorious residents was Al Capone, the infamous gangster who ruled Chicago's underworld during the Prohibition era. Capone arrived at Alcatraz in 1934, expecting to bribe his way to comfort, as he had in other prisons. But at Alcatraz, the rules were different. Capone was treated like any other prisoner, stripped of his power and influence. Due to his good behavior, Capone was permitted to play banjo in the Alcatraz prison band, the Rock Islanders, which gave regular Sunday concerts for other inmates. At Alcatraz, Capone's decline became increasingly evident as neurosyphilis progressively eroded his mental faculties. He spent the last year of his Alcatraz sentence in the hospital section, confused and disoriented. Capone completed his term in Alcatraz on January 6, 1939, and was transferred to the Federal Correctional Institution at Terminal Island in California to serve out his sentence for contempt of court. Later, he was paroled after his wife May appealed to the court based on his reduced mental capabilities. By the 1960s, Alcatraz had become too expensive to maintain, with its aging infrastructure and high operational costs. In 1963, the prison was officially closed, and the inmates were transferred to other facilities. Alcatraz's story as a prison had come to an end, but its legacy was far from over. Today, Alcatraz is a national park and one of San Francisco's most popular tourist attractions. Visitors can walk through the cells that once held America's most dangerous criminals and see firsthand why this place was considered inescapable. The haunting stories of those who lived and died within its walls continue to fascinate, reminding us of a time when Alcatraz was more than just an island. It was a symbol of ultimate confinement. As you can see, Californians can be very strict when it comes to law and order. And now, let's move on to the next fact. And number 4, the Avocado Capital. California, known for its sunny beaches, Hollywood stars, and technological innovations, is also home to another treasure, avocados. These creamy green fruits have become a staple of California cuisine and a symbol of the state's rich agricultural heritage. But how did California become the avocado capital of the United States, and what keeps this green gold thriving today? The story of avocados in California begins far from its sun-soaked orchards. Avocados are native to south-central Mexico, where they were cultivated by the Aztecs as early as 500 BC. But only in the 1930s, farmers discovered that California's coastal climate was ideal for growing avocados, particularly in areas like San Diego County. Small groves began to appear, and the avocado's popularity slowly grew. The real boom in avocado farming came after World War II. With the population of California exploding, the demand for avocados skyrocketed. Farmers began planting more trees, experimenting with different varieties, and improving cultivation techniques. The Hass avocado, developed by a California mail carrier named Rudolph Hass in the 1930s, became the most popular variety due to its rich taste, long growing season, and ability to withstand shipping without damage. By the 1950s and 60s, California was firmly established as the avocado capital of the United States. The state's farmers, many of whom were small, family-owned operations, worked tirelessly to meet the growing demand. They formed cooperatives to market their fruit, and the California Avocado Commission was established to promote the state's avocados and educate consumers about their health benefits. Today, California produces about 90% of the United States' avocados. Each year, the industry generates nearly $400 million in revenue, supporting local economies and providing jobs in farming, packing, and distribution. However, growing avocados is not without its challenges. Water scarcity, rising costs, and climate change have all impacted the industry. Avocado trees require significant amounts of water, and California's frequent droughts have put pressure on farmers to adopt more sustainable practices. Many growers have invested in water-saving technologies such as drip irrigation and soil moisture sensors to reduce their environmental footprint while maintaining their yields. As you slice into your next avocado, whether it's for a salad, a sandwich, or a classic guacamole, remember that you're tasting a piece of California's rich agricultural heritage. And while the future may bring new challenges, one thing is certain: California will continue to be the avocado capital, nurturing its green gold for generations to come. Avocados will always remind Californians of their historical connection with Mexico, but the next product speaks of a connection with Spain. Can you guess which one? Don't go anywhere because we're moving on. Number 3. The Almond Rush. Did you know that California is now the world's leading producer of almonds, supplying about 80% of the global market? This thriving industry, often called the Almond Rush, has become an integral part of California's agricultural landscape, turning vast stretches of the Central Valley into orchards of white blossoms and golden nuts. But how did almonds take root in California, and what challenges do they face today? The almond's journey to California began in the mid-19th century, brought by Spanish missionaries who planted the first trees as they established missions up the coast. The climate of California's Central Valley, hot, dry summers and cool, wet winters, mirrored that of the almond's native Mediterranean, providing ideal growing conditions. Today, California's almond orchards cover more than 1 million acres, stretching as far as the eye can see. The sight of almond blossoms in the spring, often referred to as California's other snow, is a beautiful reminder of the state's agricultural prowess. The industry generates billions of dollars annually, supporting not just farmers, but also an entire network of workers involved in harvesting, processing, and shipping almonds around the globe. California almonds are prized for their quality and versatility. They're used in everything from snacks and milk to cosmetics and cooking oils. But producing this valuable crop comes with significant challenges. Almond trees require a lot of water, something that has become increasingly scarce in drought-prone California. Farmers have had to adapt, using advanced irrigation systems and innovative farming practices to reduce water usage and keep their orchards productive. The almond industry also faces environmental scrutiny, concerns about water use, pesticide application, and impacts on bee populations have put pressure on growers to find more sustainable ways to farm. In response, many almond farmers are leading the way in adopting eco-friendly practices, such as planting cover crops to improve soil health, reducing chemical use, and implementing solar-powered irrigation systems. As the world's appetite for almonds grows, California's orchards will keep producing their golden harvest, ensuring that the legacy of the Almond Rush lives on. California, the sunny state, produces so many wonderful and useful things, but when you look at its symbol, you might wonder, how sweet is it really? Stay with us as we move on to the next fact. Number 2. The grizzly bear is extinct. The California grizzly bear, once a powerful symbol of the Golden State, roamed freely across the vast landscapes of California. From the rugged Sierra Nevada mountains to the sun-drenched coastlines, this majestic creature, weighing up to 1,500 pounds and standing over 8 feet tall, was an awe-inspiring sight that embodied the wild, untamed spirit of early California. The grizzly bear was more than just a powerful animal. It was a part of California's identity. Early settlers and explorers often spoke of the bear's strength and fearlessness. The bear's image was embraced by the California Republic during its brief existence in 1846, and when California became a state in 1850, the grizzly was officially adopted as a state symbol. To the pioneers, the bear represented the wild spirit of the frontier, a land of opportunity and challenge. As settlers poured into California during the gold rush, the state's landscapes began to change. Towns, railroads, and farms sprang up seemingly overnight, bringing people closer to the grizzly's territory. These bears, once the undisputed kings of the California wilderness, found themselves in direct conflict with humans. To the settlers, the grizzly became more than just a symbol. It was a threat to their livestock, their crops, and their lives. The grizzly bear's downfall came swiftly. As California's population grew, so did efforts to control the bear population. Grizzlies were hunted relentlessly, seen as dangerous nuisances to be removed rather than revered symbols to be protected. By the late 1800s, bounty hunters, settlers, and ranchers had driven the bears to the brink of extinction. The last known California grizzly was shot in 1922 in the Sierra Madre Mountains, marking the end of an era. With the grizzly gone, California lost a piece of its natural heritage. The bear that once roamed the state's forests and valleys now exists only in historical accounts, old photographs, and the flag that still waves above the state capitol. Ironically, while the bear remains a proud symbol of California, its extinction serves as a poignant reminder of the state's complex relationship with its wild past. Write in the comments, would you like to see the grizzly bear return to California? And now, we're moving on to the next fact. Number 1. Yosemite National Park. Yosemite National Park is a place where nature's grandeur is on full display. For over 150 years, it has captured the hearts of millions, drawing visitors from all corners of the globe who come to witness its awe-inspiring landscapes. But what makes Yosemite so special, and why does it continue to be one of the most beloved national parks in the United States? Yosemite's most iconic feature is its granite cliffs, carved by glaciers millions of years ago into stunning formations that defy gravity. El Capitan, a sheer vertical rock face standing over 3,000 feet tall, is a favorite challenge for rock climbers and a jaw-dropping sight for all who gaze upon it. Nearby, Half Dome rises like a grand sentinel, its distinctive shape dominating the skyline. These colossal stone giants, bathed in sunlight by day and moonlight by night, give Yosemite a sense of timeless majesty. But it's not just the rock that makes Yosemite unique, it's the water that flows through it. Yosemite Falls, one of the tallest waterfalls in North America, thunders down in 3 cascades, misting the valley below. In spring, the park's waterfalls reach their peak, fed by melting snow from the high country, creating a symphony of rushing water that echoes through the valleys. Bridal Veil Fall, with its delicate, wispy appearance, adds a touch of grace to the rugged landscape. Yosemite is also home to some of the world's oldest and largest living trees, the giant sequoias. The Mariposa Grove, located in the southern part of the park, is a cathedral of ancient giants, some of which have stood for over 2,000 years. The grizzly giant, one of the oldest trees in the grove, stands as a silent witness to centuries of change and is a powerful reminder of nature's resilience. For many, Yosemite is more than just a park. It's a place of reflection and rejuvenation. It offers a deep sense of peace and connection with the natural world. It's a reminder of the beauty that exists beyond our busy lives and a testament to the power of preservation. Thank you for exploring the hidden corners of California with us. Write in the comments, which U.S. state should we make our next video about? And check out other hidden discoveries on our channel.